It all started for me back in 1972 when I had my first child. I was a hippie and part of the whole Back to the Land movement. And I, of course, wanted to have a home birth, but I couldn't find a midwife. Midway through my pregnancy, this beautiful woman in town was more pregnant than I was and having a third baby, and she invited me to her birth, which took place in a milk shed. And that was my first experience. I was 5 months pregnant, and I was, wow, that's what birth feels like. And I asked her if she would be my midwife. And she said, well, you know, I'm not a midwife, but I'll be at your birth. And I tell you this because really that's how it all began in the United States. We lost midwifery, and women just started helping each other, and not necessarily with a lot of skill, but with a lot of intention to get skilled. And, you know, pretty soon my time came, and I found a midwife who had been a self-starter like that woman was. And she took me on and apprenticed me, and I just went from there. Is that 2 years after that first birth, I had a home birth that was orgasmic. And I never said a word about it to anyone for years because I was trying to get established in my career as a midwife, and I thought if I told anyone they would think I was crazy. What I didn't say about my first birth was that when I went into labor, I was a month early, and that wonderful woman who was going to help me was not in town. So I had to go to the hospital because I was early and because I had no support. And my experience was pretty brutal. They tied me down. They gave me an episiotomy against my will. They drugged me after the birth, and I didn't see my son for 7 hours. And the damage was so great because I knew what I'd missed. It made my second birth all the more vivid. I would have stayed home, I think, no matter what. And because they'd cut this huge, horrible episiotomy, I went deep inside myself when I was pushing so that I wouldn't tear. I had no idea of orgasmic birth or any intention, but going deep inside and feeling my daughter's head, the contours of it, and relaxing to the pressure of it, and then feeling her body as it squiggled out of me. I could feel every detail of her form. And the sensation was overwhelming, and the emotional release was so great that that was the orgasm of my birth. And the whole experience, especially after that first one, totally transformed me. It really set me on my path. There was no way I wasn't going to be a midwife. I had to be a midwife now. And I want to tell women something that they will remember. So I tell them that the hormones of birth, the oxytocin, are the same hormones of making love, only 10 times higher. And so imagine yourself making love in a room full of strangers, where people are coming in and out all the time, unannounced, where the lights are bright, where machines are beeping, where you don't know what's going on. You know, it takes privacy and sanctity to get into making love. And that's the true nature of birth. So if you think of it that way, and you still have to give birth in the hospital, then you want to make sure that you have some plan, some agreement with the person you're working with, that you can have dim lights, that strangers will be at a minimum, that people will keep their voices down and not talk extraneously, and that you can get your privacy. You know, some women go into the bathroom and lock themselves in and come out minutes before they're going to have the baby because it's the only way they can have that kind of privacy. And the other thing that I like to say is that birth is bigger than you are. And if you think you're going to do it as an athletic feat or by will, intention for accomplishment, you'll suffer. You know, there's this point in labor around 4 centimeters where contractions get really strong, and a lot of women that have hoped for a natural birth think, I can't do it. it's more than I can handle. I was wrong. This is not for me. I'm one of those people that has got to have drugs. You know. But what they don't know is right around the corner are the endorphins, which is nature's pain relief. It's what we release when we do athletic stuff like go on marathons, and in the beginning you're thinking, oh my God, if I could just get through this, this is horrible. And then the endorphins kick in, and your running is like flying. And that happens in birth. You get that rush of release, and then the contractions are very manageable. So those two things I think every woman should know. Birth is sexual, you need privacy, and labor is bigger than you are, but you can do it. You can do, women have done it, and you can not only do it, but you can love it. The more you let go, the more incredible it is.